Hi, my name is Tom Jablonski. This is going to be a video of a brief overview of Microsoft Dynamics Business Central. Business Central is a Microsoft Dynamics product that's part of the Microsoft Office suite of products, and the license can be easily added into this, and it does interact with all of those other products that are in the Microsoft Office suite. Moving into the product itself, this is a role center within Business Central. There are multiple role centers throughout Business Central. If I click this sprocket right here, that lets me go out and showcase to you all the different types of role centers that you can have access to. Here's all the different kinds of things that you can do. And so what it is you can find a role center that more equates to the type of business or the type of role you have within your organization. And this role center will be tweaked to try and bring you forward all of that kind of important detail throughout the system so that you can get to the parts of the system that you need access to easily. To demonstrate that, I'll show you that I actually have 3 different role centers currently being running, and I'm running the same company within each of these role centers to show you the differences. So here I'm in as a business manager, and it's showing me sales and purchases and all sorts of other stuff, and I've got different menu bars up here to look at. If I transition to an accountant's role center, I'm starting to see different shortcuts out here and different menu options in here and some different items down below here. And then as I transition into my 3rd role center, just to kind of showcase you some of the differences, I see again different menu options here. I'm in as a sales order processor, and so all of these items have been changed to really be sales centric throughout the system. I really like the business manager role to demo from, so I'm going to go ahead and click back on this and then begin to explain the rest of the screen to you. So in here, this is the company I'm currently logged in. You can have as many companies in our system as you want. There's no additional charge. You can have 50 companies, 2 companies, 1 company. It does not matter. It's all for the same cost to get into the system. Moving to the right of that is our menu bar, and this is where you can see the different options for the different modules that you have access to, so that you can navigate there and do the various types of transactions that you might want to do or get into the master records that you need for each of those. Beneath that is our shortcut bar. And in here, these are just deemed to be shortcuts to get me to my list of customers or my list of vendors or my list of items quickly, rather than me having to go navigate through the menus to go out there and find one of these options. I can make any screen or any report added into my shortcut bar simply by using the bookmark feature on each of the screens. So if I were to click on this report, I could actually take out this bookmark to showcase that it's going to disappear from my shortcut bar. So that's all it takes to add or remove an item into your shortcut, is to either navigate to the screen or do a search for it and then click on the bookmark, and it'll go ahead and be added or removed from this shortcut bar for you. In here we have some insights that actually start to roll for you depending on the types of details in the role center that you're in, and it starts to show you just some details about what's going on within your organization. Some of it's going to be last month data, some of it's current month data, but the system, these are just out of the box little insights that they're trying to kind of showcase to you, and they are drillable so that you can actually click on this and look that, yep, that was the largest sales order that we had out there. Our sales invoice that we had this month. Over to the right of this is our action bar. And again, our action bar allows us to go ahead and get into specific types of transactions or data elements throughout the system. And so by clicking here, again, I don't even have to go to a shortcut bar here. There's no reason to add in and say a sales invoice or a sales order into my shortcut, because my action button gets me into that right away, where I can go ahead and access that and start to key in a brand new sales order. And this is slightly different than using this sales orders here. This would take me into a list of sales orders that haven't been processed yet, and this allows me to just get into the transaction type itself and start keying in a brand new one. As I continue to scroll down through the rest of the screen here, we start to get into our activity section, and this is where it's going to start to showcase to me, again, based on my role center and the type of data that I'm interested in, it's going to show me sales information and purchasing information all throughout the system, and it allows me to drill back on this. So if I'm looking at this, I have 7 unposted invoices in my system that I can click on, and actually see just those 7 open invoices that have not yet been posted. And if I wanted to, I could go ahead and post each of these and be done with it right from that screen. Similarly, I've got purchase orders that are out here. And so I can come into here, look at all of my purchase orders outstanding, and if I needed to, I could open one up and begin to edit it. When I continue on down this screen, there are some emailing and activities that can go on in terms of you can get inbound documents and things like that. And then we also have workflows that are available to us throughout the system. And we even have a timesheet. So if you're doing manufacturing and you're doing, well, if you're just trying to track time in general, you can have your employees get created in the system here, and they can come in and fill in a timesheet. And again, we've got workflow approvals. This would showcase to you, if you're an approver, any of the approvals that are waiting for you to go out there and take care of it. As I navigate further down, we get into our insight section. So we have a number of different graphs and charts that are available to you. These are almost like Power BI visualizations, but they're not. These are just out-of-the-box ones, and if you hover over these, it's a live screen thing here for you to look at this and say, hey, here's their percentage of sales, right, for their top 5 customers. And this is then showcasing to you as I hover over this that this is A Datum Corp, and we've done $223,000 worth of sales with them. When I move over to the section to the right of this, we've got favorite accounts. And so I, as an accountant, might be interested in looking at my cash accounts, my accounts receivable, and my accounts payable. But again, it could be my sales accounts. It could be my cost of goods sold if I'm really focused on trying to manage the, what's going on with some of my materials and trying to analyze what's happening with some of those accounts. I can add any account into here simply by coming in, clicking New, and selecting it from the list. And then this is, again, a drillable field where I can go ahead and click on any of these. And let's just click on the $72,000 receivable, and it's going to show me all of my receivable balances that make that up. Okay? As I move over here, it says it's a trial balance. It's really a snippet income statement, right? It's going to show you your revenues, your cost of goods sold and your gross margin, and a percent of your gross margin for the current period and for your prior period. And then it's going to show you all your SG&A expenses down below, getting you down to a net income all the way at the bottom. So it's meant to be a really nice, simple snippet. Again, these are hyperlinked. It lets me drill back, look at the details, see the accounts that make that up. And if I wanted to, I'd be able to continue to drill back all the way into the details for that particular account. Continuing on down to the bottom of the screen, we can do a report inbox. And the idea behind this would be is pretty much any report in the system can be scheduled so that it's sitting in your inbox for you, waiting for you. You determine what that schedule would look like. I've set this up to run every single night at midnight. I initiated it yesterday, and so that one ran earlier, or later I should say, but then this one ran last night at midnight. And so it's sitting in my inbox waiting for me to go ahead and say, hey, I'm ready to go. I just came in the morning. I wanted to take a look at my aged accounts receivable, and there it is for me, waiting for me in the morning. I didn't have to go navigate to it and run the report. It's going to be out there each morning for me if that's what I wanted to do. You could have this be scheduled to be every other day. It could be every 2 days, every 5 days, every 3 days. You could schedule it once a week, once a month. Any of the reports can be scheduled in different ways, and we can talk about that in a future video. And then the last thing on this screen is really talking about Power BI. Again, Power BI is a visualization tool from Microsoft. It is part of our solution stack, and those reports, those visualizations can actually be authored outside the system and then brought into BC so that it can use the data inside of BC and potentially outside of BC, and then you'd be able to look at those visualizations right within Business Central, and you can actually put them throughout various sections of the system. Some of the other features in the system here, again, are as we go into our navigation, right? We can come in and talk about the different areas of the system. I can navigate by coming in through the menus. Again, I can use these bookmarks to get these added in or out. And then I can go ahead and click on any of these documents within or these customer cards to go out there and look at that. As I drill back on this, I wanted to showcase one other thing. We have different views as we start to look at master records throughout the system. And so from that perspective, I'm just sitting in here as a list of my customers and vendors, and I get to start to look at all of the details about this vendor in this case, looking at what's going on with this vendor without me actually even opening the card. I can see their current outstanding balance. I can click on this, and it's going to show me all the records that make up this balance for this vendor. Or I could click over to here, or I could look down here and look at any unposted invoices with them or unpaid invoices sitting out there outstanding. So the point would be is, without even being in the card, I can actually start to see data and start to inquire about it. But the other thing that you can see from here is that we've got different ways to look at this. And so that's the list view. We've got our small tile version of this, and then we even have our tall tiles. And so our tall tiles let us have larger pictures. I actually kind of prefer looking at this one more from an item perspective, is if we came in here and looked at our items, there's all of our beautiful pictures of all of our items within the system. And again, similar to the vendors or the customers, by just being into here, I get to see details about my items and my other master records within the system. I'm going to go ahead and click back to my home screen, and I'm back where we started this. And this is going to complete our video of the overview of Business Central.